Our electoral process right now is obviously flooded with money and actually promotes inactivity among people who are already elected. And I think this in turn leads people to not feel very confident in their system because they think there's not much they could do to speak up or change people who probably aren't serving their interests. And so I think in order for us to get a more fair electoral system, we need to really carefully examine not only the money in politics, but also possibly term limits. And maybe even better than that, we need to think about how can we elevate the conversation and the voices of people who are voiceless to allow them to engage in a robust dialogue that could hold people accountable and really move our community forward. And I think that would get us to a place where we could benefit from the great wisdom of people who have been in office, but also the fresh new ideas of others who might have something to contribute. As somebody who worked both in Congress and also for President Obama during times that were pretty difficult for our nation, I know not only how important national politics are, but also how important local politics are. I traveled between 25 and 30 states for the president and saw how important it was for local leaders to be engaged and prepared on the ground. And I think we've got to do a good job at all levels explaining to people what the role of government is. But we really also have to be relevant to people, right? And so sometimes politicians, elected officials, civic and community leaders get caught in a bubble and it becomes like a clique. And cliques are not good in a system that's supposed to be open. Our democracy is designed to have many voices heard, and I think we need to think about how we, again, elevate the voices of people who don't often have the opportunity to speak, and also whose interests are not supported by powerful people. And so I think to do that, I would do, and I've said this, I would use technology and also new methods and also old methods, just going door to door to do periodic assessments of how the community is feeling and what the community needs are. I would also use existing information, data that we have to target programs towards people's needs. I think if we would have done this in the past, in the year 2000, there was a study that came out that said we were facing a massive population surge, right? 2.1 million people then, and we said we were going to 2.7. Well, we're at 2.6. And had we heeded that warning, we would have possibly been able to develop sufficient housing, and we might not have the housing crisis we have now. The area that I'd like to have the greatest impact is we need a comprehensive economic development, education, and affordable housing plan. And those might seem like they're disparate, but they're really all very much interconnected. And what I mean by that is right now we're not training people for the job. We don't have a sense of what industry or where industry is going. We don't have a sense of where business is going in our community. And because we don't have a sense of where business is going in our community, we're not properly training our young people and even some of our career changers to orient themselves in the direction that industry is going. Subsequently, many of our people are, maybe our neighbors are taking low-wage jobs, which doesn't allow them to have sufficient housing. And so if we do comprehensive economic development and education plans, and we couple that with an affordable housing plan, I believe, as has been shown in many other places, including New Orleans and cities around the country, that we could build wealth and we could make people feel good about not only what their neighborhood once was, but also their part in the neighborhood moving forward.